I wanted to talk to you today about the advantages of gathering evidence. Of course, there are disadvantages. It takes up your time, it's laborious, it's something that you have to keep in mind really all the time if you're in a fast-moving situation where you need to keep really up to date with everything that's going on. But what are the advantages? And I would suggest there are plenty of advantages. You're going to find it simpler to explain your circumstances when you go for help, whether it's to the police, whether it's to a lawyer, to a charity, citizens' advice, for example. You're going to be prepared, and that means that you're going to find it easier to get advice because you're not spending a long time giving the person information which you're having to recount from and remember. And that's difficult sometimes. If you have a situation which has been going on for a long time, even if it's only gone on for a couple of months, it's very difficult to recall everything in the right order, exactly when it happened, if you've got any evidence in support of it, if you had somebody with you who might back you up. The other thing is it's your evidence that you keep safe. So if you use our app, we're making sure that it's stored for you, it's in chronological order, and you don't part with it. You share it with people, but you don't part with it. And there are constant horror stories of people finding that important information that they hold or held but had given to somebody else had gone missing. The police had lost something. All of these things could happen. It's not impossible. And if you're totally in control of the evidence and you know who you're sharing it with and what you're sharing, then if the worst comes to the worst and they lose something, you've still got all of your records that you can rely on. You can get guidance and advice from anyone who's helping you if you set up a sharing facility. You can then have a channel through which you can communicate. So it's a safe, secure channel. You can get advice that way. Another thing that I think you'll probably find is that lawyers will be slow to adopt anything like this. And in many ways, it's understandable. It's new technology. They don't know particularly how to use it. They don't want to have to start to learn to use it. And they'll say that it's much easier to talk to you and take a statement from you as to what's happened. The trouble with that, though, is that takes a long time and that costs you. So you will sit with someone whilst dictating to them what's happened. They will be writing notes. And before you know where you are, a couple of hours has passed and you haven't even got to the stage really of getting any advice. And in any event, they can charge you for the time that it takes for you to tell them what's happened. Whereas if you were to send your chronology to them because you've shared it with them, or you could download it and print off a copy and send it to them, it wouldn't take them anywhere near as long to read through that. And if you've done a lot of the legwork, then you're going to find that your fees are a lot cheaper. The next thing is your memory. You could turn up to see a lawyer for the first occasion, and I've had this happen to me. You could turn up and you have a long story to tell. You try your best to do it, but then the lawyer starts to ask you questions about, well, what day was that? Who was with you? What time did it happen? Did you see somebody who might be able to back you up? Was there a colleague at work who might have seen it? What else happened on that day? And you can be cross-examined on your evidence, and if people can start to find holes in it because you've got the wrong day, you've got the wrong time, you've missed something important, then that's an easy way to try to discredit you. And you're really on the back foot, whereas if you've got records which are clear, you've covered the issues, you've uploaded it so that we can show the date and time that you uploaded it, so that you can show that it was a contemporaneous note or shortly thereafter, and that you were in the place you said you were, This is going to give you much greater confidence that when you go for help, you're going to get it. It's going to be well received, I think, from the police or others who might be helping you, lawyers. And they're going to know that you've made this effort. And I think that goes a long way to showing that you really are committed to getting something done. Another reason that it's important to keep records is that if you keep it on our app, you may need to share your records with more than one individual. You may go to a lawyer. That may just be sufficient. But what about if you are keeping records, say, of appointments with Kafkas, and you want to make a complaint? And then you want to make sure that that complaint goes on if it's not accepted. This applies to any situation where you have to go through tiers of complaints to get to a final ombudsman, really. And so you've got those records. You don't have to keep going back over and through everything. You don't have to keep repeating yourself. And it's much easier. So you're going to save a lot of time in that regard as well. So I thoroughly recommend that you keep records for all those reasons. It may be laborious, it may be time consuming, it may be just another thing you have to do, but on the other hand, it could make your life much easier in the long run, and you've taken responsibility for yourself and you are in a better position to win your case.